2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Mic check. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. I have no sound. I have no sound. Let me see something right quick. I don't know why I don't have any sound. Let's see. Okay. Test 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Let's see. Let's try. Try this one. Let's try this one here. Sound check. I got no sound. Nothing's coming through at all. Let's go in. Oh, okay. I got testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Oh, it says it's coming out, but I don't hear. I see movement, but I don't hear no sound coming out here. I don't hear any sound coming. Okay, here's something. It's low. It's, okay, so that's it. I just have to make an adjustment. Okay. Okay. Why don't I hear nothing coming out here? Okay, I think I hear something now. I think I got sound. Can y'all hear me? Testing 1, 2, 3. Mic check 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to adjust this microphone when it's all over. I'm gonna have to be right here up on the. I'm gonna have to be right here up on the mic. I got a. I got a compressor. I got to connect to it. So when I get right there, you actually can hear me, but I don't want to be bending over. Okay. So when I get right there, you actually can hear me, but I don't want to be bending over. Okay. I figured. Okay. In the meantime, so you can hear me. Okay. All right. He says sounds good. I got to tweak my sound. I'm trying to do something a little different so that I can bring people in. So this is the new platform we're going to use. This is Restream, but I'm actually doing it through the Restream Studio. Let me turn this down here. Okay. So I'm doing this through the Restream so that people can come in. Today I wanted to just kind of have a little fellowship, and I want to kind of talk a little bit about what is on your hearts, any particular topics that you want to discuss for the upcoming year. Um, I know I had some things that I said I was going to cover, but today it kind of be more like an informal setting. So you can ask me any questions that you want to ask me, um, and I'll do my best to see how I can answer those questions. The thought in my mind was that I was thinking about. I was talking to Elihu yesterday, and we was talking, and Maury Josiah the other day. We was talking about our Hebrew Israelite story, right? And there's a lot of people that have stories that need to be heard, right? So I have a channel called Our Hebrew Israelite Story, and or Our Story. I think it's, I think the subtitle Our Hebrew Israelite Story, but Our Story, where you can tell your testimony about how you came into this knowledge of this truth. Uh, it's no better way to communicate to the world, right? No other than, let me put a link in here. If anybody want to come in, and you can come on live, if you want to come on today and give your testimony, um, click this link here, and I'll bring you in, and I'll give you the space. You want to greet the people. If you're not camera shy, and you want to come on the camera, this is your opportunity to do so. Um, so often we have people that challenge certain things that we teach as Hebrew Israelites in the Hebrew Israelite community, and some Hebrew Israelite teachers teach different things. I like to be interactive, so I'm going to change the platform so that we can actually be more interactive, right? So people don't have to necessarily just text, but I can actually bring you in on the live stream, right? So you'll see a link I just posted there. I post one more time, and if you so happen to choose to want to come on the camera, you don't necessarily have to tell your testimony. You might just want to come on and see how it works. Click on that link there, and I'll bring you in, and you can say um, Shabbat Shalom to the family. You know, we can put a face on a name, right? So let me just do this here while I'm going through the greetings. Uh, this is kind of good because I actually can. Let me show y'all what I can do. Watch this. See that? See, I actually can actually put your messages on the screen now. So I can do it this way and say Tresky Morel, Baruch Shabbat, back to you. And then I can go to let's see, I got Lion Pride here. I can go here and bam, there it is. Look at that. I like it. See, that's a whole lot better. So, and the thing what I like with this studio is that I can leave messages on the board for as long as I want to leave them up. So if somebody say something, like if you ask a question, right, I can leave your question up on the board, and while we attempt to explain, I got to turn this mic down because I'm getting louder and I'm hearing the volume come through. Let's see. So yeah, I mean, so this is actually a good tool, and I like it that way better. All right, so I can take the message off, and as somebody comments a message, right, it's interactive. I can show. Look at that thumbs up, right? Brother Dollars. Uh, so Shabbat Shalom, Elias Stone. Shabbat Shalom back to you, my brother. Uh, and Shamaria, Shabbat Shalom to you and to your household. So see how I like how this works. This is pretty cool, right? And here's what I posted. Sound check. Y'all didn't hear me, but I posted. That's me. And so let's see who else we got here. All right. See that? I like that. This is cool. Right? Uh my pride told I about for that, my brother. And Tresky came back and said, Sir. This is me posting. Okay. So I like it this way because this way I can man, I can really this is a better way of broadcasting it. So I'm not actually generally I use Restream. So this way I can kind of monitor the message board a lot better and we can address things as they come on the screen, right? Now the good thing about this is that I don't have to somebody, somebody post a comment and I don't want to put it up on the screen. I don't have to, right? It'll come in the message board on a live stream chat on Facebook, on YouTube rather, but I don't have to necessarily post it in the video. So if somebody says something and I don't necessarily want to address it, like say for example, I can do like um, if I want to put like a link up, right? Let me show y'all. Let me show you what I can do with this. This is cool, right? Okay, so let's just say I'm gonna open another browser. See, let's slide this over here, right? And I can go and do like let's just say I wanna let's do this real quick. Okay. Let's go to Google Gemini, right? And I can do this. I can actually uh let me see. I can do this. I can say what is a Hebrew Israelite Israelite and are they the same as a black Hebrew Israelite? Let's see what Gemini says about that, right? And fast, right? Okay, now here's the thing. Okay, what I can do is this here, right? With this, I can take and share my conversation, right? I copy the link, and then I could put this in the chat, just like this here, right? And paste it, and boom, and then I can show it. That's cool. That's very cool, right? So, now I'm still learning this Restream Studio, but yesterday when I was out, I was like, man, there's got to be a way I can navigate and get rid of my green screen. I was talking to Ellie who yesterday, and uh, you got green screen, you know, get, and I was like, no, I don't really know how to get the green off. But then I went and I asked Google Gemini, and Google Gemini told me how to do it. Right? I said, well, can I stream on multiple platforms? He said, absolutely. So this is the way we're gonna do it, right? Now the only difference is you're gonna see that in the corner, you're gonna see that restream here. this don't go away unless I pay for membership, right? And I choose not to pay for membership at this time. Maybe later in the future, and I love it. Um, but it works just the same. You just see that stream on the stream when you're watching. Okay, now with that said, so, since I started with that, and listen, so if, like I said, if you want to come in, right? Um, what is add a placeholder? What is add a placeholder? I don't know what this is. I'm almost afraid to click. This is the link for you to come. I can bring. You click on that link, I get a notification that hey, we got somebody want to come on, and we'll bring you right on. Okay, now with that said, so what I want to do is, if I can, let's see, and let me see. I'm trying to figure. I'm learning how to do this thing. This is good. Okay, I want to show screen share. So what I want to do is, I want all this. Okay, I'm trying to figure out how can I just share that part of the screen. I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. Okay, let's try this. Let's try this here. I want to share. Okay, here we go. Google Gemini. I got two of them open. Select the tab to share. Is it this one or is it this one? Which one is the difference? What's the difference? I think it's this one here. Let's do that. See how that works. Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay, let's see. Now, wait a minute. Hold on. Where I go now? Okay. All right. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. All right, cool. I like this. So here's what we're gonna do. This actually is the background. Okay, I'm learning a little something today. I can't do nothing. I'm gonna learn today. I had to figure out how to put my sound effects in, but I'll get that later on. Okay, but I like that. This is cool though. Right? So with this, let me see. Let me go back here. Okay, I can actually bring myself in and do it like this. There you go. Okay. All right. Now, how I like that. Oh, this is good. Oh, I love it, man. Don't y'all be shy now. If you want to come in here, click on that link. All right. So we'll just do it this way until somebody uh prompts me for a question or something like that, or will read, or you might something that I'm going to read on this in this particular um, in this particular um, article. Okay, so let's go back here. All right, there we go. So this is a scene two. Let's see, how can I slide this up here? There we go. Okay, there we go here. All right. So kind of way I got to figure out how to navigate it with my Stream Deck. But anyway, okay. So I asked the question here. Question was, I said, what is a Hebrew Israelite, and are they the same as a black Hebrew Israelite? He says, in short, yes, they are essentially the same, right? So now, do you all agree with that? That a Hebrew Israelite and a black Hebrew Israelite is essentially the same because that's how they identify us. They identify us by calling us Hebrew Israelites or black Hebrew Israelites, right? So when you say black Hebrew Israelite, to me, it seems like to me you're saying that there are white Hebrew Israelites. So it's kind of like saying a black Muslim, right? You got white Muslims and black Muslims, right? Okay, so why does society feel the need to put this label in front of that? And they'll straight up tell you, oh, because y'all call yourself black Hebrew Israelites. I've never referred to myself as a black Hebrew Israelite, and most of you haven't, right? Okay, so now he says it's essentially the same, right? Okay, let's go back in here. He says The Hebrew Israelite and Black Hebrew Israelite (BHI) are terms used to describe a religious movement of people, predominantly African Americans, who believe they are the true descendants of the ancient biblical Israelites. Right? Okay. Now, let me ask a question. Do y'all believe that? Do y'all believe that we are a religious movement? Right? A religious movement. So when a person does their ancestry DNA and they discover that, oh, I got Ghanaian DNA or I got Nigerian DNA, is that a religious movement or is that you just tracing your roots? So why is it that when we trace our roots back to our ethnic origin, they want to label it as a religious movement, right? So something's wrong with that picture, right? Okay, now let's go further in this here. I totally disagree, and to whoever may view this and want to put us in a box and say we're a religious movement, right? I'm telling you straight up, we're not a religious movement. Uh, to hear Moray Josiah say it, and I don't see him on right now, but the Hebrew Israelite are a people, right? We are a people, not a religion, right? So you would call Chinese people, oh, there he is. You wouldn't call Chinese people a people a religion, right? There he is, Moray Josiah.
Israelites are a people, right? We are a people, not a religion. Oh, hey, Shalom, can you hear me?
You got your mic on?
Oh, it should be on.
I can't hear you.
Uh-oh.
Wait, hold on. Say something again.
Is that on your end?
Oh, there you are. I hear you now.
Okay. Hey, Baruch Shabbat.
Baruch Shabbat. Let me fix this on the floor. Hold on a second. Let's see. Yeah, I gotta get rid of this. Let me see. Hold on. Baruch Shabbat. Yeah. There you go. There you go. All right.
Uh-huh. And you see what Shamaria said, Sister Shamaria said they're making fun of the truth. And basically, that is our plight because we know the scripture says that we're going to be a byword and a proverb among all nations, whether he will lead us. So they're never going to respect us for who we are. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that because I can absolutely testify that there are changes that are mainstream now in regarding people, and I'm not talking about us, I'm talking about other ethnics are understanding now, are beginning to understand that we are absolutely the people of the book. But until the fullness of it come in, we are a byword and proverb. Matter of fact, you got me wanting to read something in regarding that, if I
Go
may.
ahead.
Hold on 1 second. Let me
Yeah.
grab my book. Yeah, man, I thought I'd give you a little time before I had to head out.
Yeah.
And
Appreciate
James Brown said, get on up and do my thing.
it.
Let me see.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's just an extension of the whole byword and proverb thing that they come with the black Hebrew Israelites knowing doggone shoot the people in Israel. I had shared the verse yesterday, as a matter of fact, about how the Father said he put the worst of the heathen that's occupying our land over there, you know, and they ain't never called themselves Israelites.
Right.
So who would these Oh, Shemaiah, that's because my $50 phone is highly more technical than that $2,000 plus equipment that Moray Kazak got over there. Thanks for pointing that out. Anyway, let me see. Oh man, where is this at? Ezekiel 39. Check this out. It says, Ezekiel 39 says this. Ezekiel 39 and verse 21, as a matter of fact, and it reads, it says, and I will set my esteem among the heathen, and all the heathen shall see my judgment that I have executed, and my hand that I have laid upon them. A lot of people probably take issues with me. I always talk about the heathen and I call them that, but we see here that that's what the scripture calls them. So uh we trade bywords for bywords. All right, you want to call me a black Hebrew Israelite and all them other less honorable names that you call me, well, I'm going to call you what the scripture calls you. Scripture calls you a heathen. But again, he says, I will set my esteem among the heathen, and all the heathen shall see my judgment that I have executed, and my hand that I have laid upon them. So the house of Yashrael shall know that I am Yahuwah their Elohim from that day and forward. And the heathen shall know that the house of Yashrael went into captivity for their iniquity, because they trespass against me, therefore hid I my face from them. That's our present state that we're in. The Father has hid his face from us as a whole, as an entire people, as we are in the land of our captivity. His eyes are always on the righteous. Those of us who have taken hold of the covenant now, his eyes are on us. But as far as the rest of our people, the lost, he hath hid his face from us as a nation and gave them into the hand of their enemies. So fell all they by the sword. And I'm laughing because Sister Andrea, you know Sister Andrea, right? She, when I read something like this, she always say, I wonder what the Jewish people think when they read this. But shoot that he gave us into the hand of the enemy, man. That's undeniable. What verse I leave off at? Um, so the house of Israel and the heathen shall know, verse 23, that the house of Yahweh went into captivity for their iniquity, because they trespassed against me. Therefore hid I my face from them and gave them into the hand of their enemies. So fell they all by the sword. According to their uncleanness, according to their transgressions, have I done unto them and hid my face from them. Therefore, says Yahweh, now will I bring again the captivity of Yaakov and have mercy upon the whole house of Yashrael, and will be jealous for my holy name. He ain't going to be jealous for Jesus, Jehovah, or the Lord God. He ain't going to be jealous for those. So, incidentally, so we're not the only ones that got the bywords and proverbs. They done byworded and proverb the Most High as well, and the Messiah. That's what the heathens have done. And we, in our lack of wisdom and understanding, follow right behind the heathens with these bywords and proverbs. Verse 26. After that they have borne their shame and all their trespasses whereby they have trespassed against me, when they dwelt safely in their land, and none made them afraid. When I have bought them again from the people and gathered them out of their enemies, and incidentally, this is the new covenant right here, just in case anybody might be a little bit lost on that aspect. The new covenant does not exist right now. You cannot be in a new covenant being in America and being in the land of your captivity. he will bring us out of the land of our captivity, and then he gonna make that new covenant with us. He says, 27 again, when I have bought them again from the people and gathered them out of their enemy lands and am sanctified in them in the sight of many nations. We're not sanctified in the sight of many nations yet. That's why we go by these bywords, proverbs, and astonishment, Black Hebrew Israelite, and so forth and so on. But when he do what he's gonna do in the sight of many nations, it ain't gonna be no more of that ever again. 28 says, then shall they know that I am Yah the Elohim, which caused them to be led into captivity among the heathen. This is the reason why we're still, those of us who are awakened at this point right here, consider yourself Baruch or blessed, because the Father saw fit for you to be awakened in the very initial stage of this worldwide phenomenon of the restoration of Yah's covenant people. There are many of our own people, though, that no matter how clear cut these scriptures read, because everything I done read here, it's impossible for it to pertain to anybody else on the face of this earth. Impossible, totally impossible, but yet they still reject it because they still have the heathen's veil over their eyes. Okay, but those of us that he have awakened to this truth, to this raw and uncut, undebatable truth concerning who we are and our heritage, consider that a gift. And with any gift that you get, there is a certain amount of responsibility that we have to have with this gift. You can't take this gift and do anything that you want with it. There's a responsibility, there's accountability. This is why my brother gets up early in the morning on the Sabbath and open up. People that don't know, and you have to be in a certain position to really understand the fullness of it. And so I'm gonna tell you, more often than not, believe it or not, we don't be feeling like getting up doing this on Shabbat morning. We are content to maybe lay in bed. We are content to maybe go visit other people where we can sit down and listen and get fed or whatever. But to have to do this, rain or shine, tired, exhausted from whatever we have dealt with during the past week or whatever, it is our responsibility and it's our accountability. But at the end of the day, all of us that are awakened share a certain responsibility and a certain accountability. Okay? We don't, it's just like Yahshua teaches concerning the talents. If he have given you a talent, then a certain part of that talent, you need to consider how you can use it for the awakening, how you should be able to use it for the kingdom, or be very fearful that you can have that talent taken away from you. Okay. And I'm just paraphrasing the parable that Yahshua teaches concerning this. But yeah, but the point is, though, is a blessing at the end of the day for that the Father gave us, but we don't want to use this in vain. Okay. So yeah, but until then, those that are lost, those in the dark, the heathen and whatsoever, we have to accept that it's part of the curse, that we're gonna endure all of these bywords, proverbs, astonishment, and all that until the time in which he see forth to bring about this that we just read about. Oh yeah, I'm gonna finish that verse 28. Then shall they know that I am Yahuwah the Elohim, which caused them to be led into captivity among the heathen, but I have gathered them into their own land and have left none of them any more there, neither will I hide my face any more from them. For I have poured out my spirit upon the house of Yashrael, says Yahuwah Elohim. All right, I was a little bit longer than I wanted to be, but I just wanted to share that. Go ahead, Moray. Uh-oh, is it just me? Oh, I can't hear you. Somebody tell me if that's just me, because I can't hear him. Uh-oh.
Mic check. 1, 2, 3. Mic check. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Mic check.
Yeah. Chesky say we lost the volume, and since I think I might still have volume, I don't know. Uh, so sorry for for you brothers of the star. I want to throw that out there. I just got to throw that out there. So sorry for y'all. Uh, hopefully next year y'all have better.
1, 2, 3.
Oh man, I think my volume is gone.
1, 2, 3. 1, 1, 2, 3. There we go. I'm back. I think I'm back now. Okay. I was making an adjustment. Okay. I have to play with it after Shabbat.
I hear you now.
Yeah, I put this condenser in here, or but I gotta tweak it because this is what I need to boost my mic because I have a the microphone that I use is a podcast mic, but you have to have one of these boosters. Okay, but anyway, Apostle Curtis came in. Apostle Curtis, where he at? Okay, Apostle Curtis came in and said Shabbat Shalom. Where is he at? Oh, right here. Okay, show that. There you go. Apostle Curtis says Shabbat Shalom, brothers and sisters. So that's another uh Maury Josiah. I don't know if you know him or not, but he has the channel on here on YouTube. Apostle Curtis. So if you're still there, Apostle Curtis, you want to come in, we can bring you in. If you want to come in, greet the people. We just basically having a fellowship today, and this is the new way we're doing it, the new wave of the century, right? um, so that excellent breakdown that you brought, that 28th verse was powerful, man. They shall
Mm,
know that I am Yah, their Elohim, which caused them to be led into captivity among the heathens.
man.
But I have gathered them unto their own land and have left none of them anymore. How about that? That base man, that's powerful right there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because the thing of it is that when they want to put this label on us, they don't, like you said, they don't really realize that they actually fulfilling prophecy.
Right.
As much as we hate being called Black Hebrew Israelite, they fulfilling prophecy.
Mm-hmm.
So let them do it.
Yep.
Anybody else want to come in and join us? Corey Josiah gonna be leaving pretty shortly. So, hey, you got something else you wanna offer while I'm on this subject here? Let's see. Let's go ahead.
I don't know if you heard my comment about my condolence to you and Tresky. and the brothers in blue. I don't know if you heard that part, but in case you didn't, I thought I would offer that up.
See, you know you're wrong for that, right? Why you want to mess up my Shabbat, huh? I'm trying to have a Shabbat Shalom. You trying to make my Shabbat be chaotic.
Well, it ain't often that I get the boast, man. It ain't often. I don't know how long I'll be able to, so I might as well take the chance while I can, man, because it
Right.
might never happen again. But anyway,
Well, offer you congratulations on postseason for the Bears. Y'all number
oh,
two, right?
indeed, huh?
Number one,
Yeah, yeah.
number one,
Number two, number
two.
two. Yeah,
Who's one?
that would probably be, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's the Rams. I think.
The Rams won. Okay, okay.
I believe so. Last time I looked, I think that's it. But it's pretty close up at the top, though. It's pretty close up there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's read some more of this Hebrew Israelite thing. We might spark some more conversation out of this whole thing.
Long Hold up, long time.
Uh-oh. Now
Man,
you
don't be scared to click that button. Oh, can you hear me?
yeah, you
Hello?
got excited and your audio kind of jumped.
Yeah, I had a call came in. Hold on, let me throw that out. Do not disturb. Okay. No, I'm just saying real quickly, man, that you longtime members or new members or sons and daughters of the covenant, man, don't be afraid to click that button, man. Even if it's just to say Shabbat Shalom, man. Go ahead and get comfortable clicking the button, man, because this is awesome that Moray opened up the Shabbat to do exactly how we should do it on the Shabbat. So don't be afraid. Sisters, take the curlers out your head. Brothers, put the do rag on or whatever. Come on, don't be afraid.
Right. It's fellowship. This is what we used to doing. Like you said. I mean, you can sit in front of this no man's an island. People get tired. We get tired of the monologue. We want involvement. That's what
Right.
the mikras are supposed to be about a
Mhm.
joint coming together to fellowship. Iron sharpening iron. So we as Maureen, we don't know everything. So you might bring something to the table. Okay. Coach Sherry, Shabbat Shalom. All right. The Mora, I think Mora would make us female, wouldn't it? Mora.
Right. Absolutely. So she definitely need to click the link. Oh, she said two of our Moras. Yeah. Well, the plural is Maureen. I think that's what she was going for, Maureen.
Right. Right. Because the Ra makes it feminine.
Yeah, the
Ra.
feminine. Right.
Uh so let's do a little more into this article here. To this so he says that the primary difference is often one of preference and categorization. Hebrew Israelite, this is a term most members of the community use for themselves. They, talking about us, prefer Hebrew or Israelite over Jew to distinguish themselves from mainstream or white Jews whom they may view as converts or imposters, right? What you want to say about that? You want to say something about that?
Oh, well, I already did. Basically, like I say, they don't call themselves Israelites. So, there's a reason for that. And not only that, but 9 times out of 10, they would tell you that because they call themselves Jewish. And they'll tell you that Jewish are not a people, but it's a religion. A lot of them, and even in their books, they tell you that. So I think more so Christianity try to build them up as being ethnic, Israelites more so than the people themselves. So that's what I get on that.
So I was thinking, what I was pointing out was the part where he said that um, we view the white Jews as converts or imposters.
Oh, and absolutely, absolutely. Imposters are for those that. Well, here's the thing. Historically, anytime that there has been that great significant conversion in history, going all the way from just using this as an example, when the 10 tribes left in that Assyrian captivity, right? And they were, or I should say, were replaced by the people that became known as the Samaritans. Isn't that what they did? Like that woman at the well, they they adopt themselves into claiming being an Israelite ethnically,
Mm-hmm.
especially among the Gentiles, because the Gentiles, for the most part, were still new to this game. They were just now coming on the scene, and then they come and they see these people, they be like, "Oh man, y'all are the Israelites, whatever," and they run with it. So that happened. Let me see. History says that Edom was converted by the Maccabees in 125 BC, and they've done the same thing. Past themselves as being actual Israelites. Um, Interestingly enough, history says that in we all know what happened in 70 AD with Titus and Vespasian. They sent all of Israel into captivity out of the land. But the ruler at that time was King Agrippa the second. He was the king of Judea. And history says that in 70 AD, Edom ceased to exist as a people. 70 AD is when they ceased to exist as a people, but they were still alive. They didn't die off. They was just calling themselves Jews at that point because we were gone. We was put, and Agrippa reigned all the way up to 100 CE. So he was still there. He was still in power. So what you was quoting there is that they're absolutely converts. We can prove that they were converted. But like I said, some of them try to lay claim to our heritage, which would do what? Make them imposters.
All right. So let me ask you a question then. So let me ask you a question. So our buddies and them, Richardson, Kelly Richardson, and Benai and all of them, they doing their thing on the 1948ers being the Khazari converts. What would you say to that?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Khazarian, or what we know them and what they even know themselves as is Ashkenazi, because that's what they call themselves, Ashkenazi. And it just, and that also the fulfillment of scriptures, right? Because didn't Yeshua say that our land will be occupied by the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled? So they're right on point with that. The Ashkenazi are the power base of the state of Israel right now.
Right. So you basically challenging the One West Division's doctrine that Esau is the so-called white man and connecting it to Japhet.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They try to make that connection with the whole Esau and Chittim or Rome joining themselves as one people, one nation, and they try to do something with that. But you could join yourself with whoever you want to. you still gonna be ethnically who you are, which is the reason why I find that if they're gonna go with that, then how come in New Testament times we learn that the Herods were not Gentiles, they were Edomites. We can read that. And no matter how aligned they are with Caesar and all of the rulers of the Roman Empire, they were still called Edomites. There was a distinct difference in the New Testament between Edom and the Gentiles, the Romans. So that puts that argument out of the way. But then, if you're going to use that, then what about the other sons of Japhet? The ones that speak German, the ones that speak English, the ones that speak France, the one that speak Spanish. How do Edom applies to them? Because we know Genesis 10th chapter says each one after his own tongue. Tongue. Edom are Hebrew speaking people. The Japhetic people speak their Japhetic language. So it's just a lack of easy, simple Scott. Oh, also on top of that, prophetically, it says that Japhet shall dwell in the tents of Shem. So that means Japhet is dwelling not only where our land, but they dwelling in Edom land. They're dwelling throughout all of the Shemitic lands, prophetic wise. But it says that Edom, that you shall be small among the heathen. Small. So small that you can't even identify who they are. But that's just the short end of what make One West lack scholarship because they wanted to promote a doctrine of exclusiveness. To make that long story short, but that's a very ignorant doctrine that they have. And people that don't read, that don't study for themselves, subject themselves to false doctrines like that.
Hmm. Very, um, very well put. Very well put. I was trying. I'm navigating through this thing here. So, so we are in agreement now. We don't spend. I'm like you. We don't spend a lot of time talking about who the Israelites are not, but we do know what the prophecy says, and like you said, the people that want to say, "Oh, they're not connected to the Khazars because it's been debunked." So then it's kind of like when you think about it, they want us to believe, the Christian church want us to believe that the Israelites just disappeared. They lost.
Right. Absolutely.
So, and they want us to believe that, oh, that Khazar converted people, they don't exist either.
Mm,
So if you got two people that disappeared, which one is which? So how is it that they can? How is it that the whole nation? There's no prophecy that said that the Israelite will be scattered in one place.
right.
But it said to the four corners. Matter of fact, when they try to say the Deuteronomy 28 was fulfilled in Babylon, I said, well, what about Luke 21:24? That was after Babylon. Where did that be for? Where was that fulfilled in Ashkenazim?
Mm,
Because if you do that, you say, okay, well, they all went north. The scripture didn't say Israel would just go to one place. Shall be led captive into all nations.
mm-hmm.
And there are five slave trades that took us to all nations.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Right? Starting from 70 AD, which you pointed out, all the way up into the last transatlantic slave trade.
Right.
The five different slave trades, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna write, that's gonna be a book by itself, the five slave trades.
Mm.
prophecy fulfilled through the hand,
Yeah.
five slave
Wow.
trade.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I asked the question because we don't spend a lot of time in saying who's not Israel, but the reality of the matter is, can you show me in their history where they went into slavery after 70 AD?
Mm-hmm.
It's not there. As a matter of fact, Vanaya bringing out and Kelly Richardson that they was the primary beneficiaries
Okay. Yeah.
of the slave trade,
Mm-hmm.
starting with the uh, the Portugal slave trade, right?
Right. Right.
Because that was the most powerful of all the slave trades.
Uh-huh.
Then the British, French, Dutch, they all had their part later, but their part
Yeah.
wasn't as large.
Mm-hmm. And that's a good word you said. Later. I like that.
Uh, Lion Price said, "Don't forget the 48ers had to hurry between the 60s and 70s to whip together a fake language of Germanic Yiddish and some Hebrew as a modern Hebrew tongue, right?"
Mm.
So, okay, so was it the 60s when the Yiddish started? Is that when it started? The Yiddish language was formulated? Let me see. When was the Yiddish
I would have thought it was back when the Khazars were converted. That's what I would have thought.
created? Okay.
Like
Okay,
10th
that's
century, like
yeah, he said
10th
ninth
century.
century, right? Ninth to 10th century, right? Yeah, that's what
Right,
he's saying.
exactly. Right. That's what I would have thought. Right.
It evolved gradually as a distinct language starting around the ninth to 10th century CE,
Right.
right?
That's when they were converted.
Right, over
Right.
200, right? Because
Ain't
they
that
got the
something?
books, right? Yeah, because they got the books, and then they couldn't read them, so they formulated their own form of Hebrew so they could state claim that, oh, this is our history, that's our
Yeah.
heritage, right?
Mm-hmm.
But who did they get it from? Now Dante Forson breaks it down. He you had the black Khazars because you had black Khazars, which was our people,
Okay.
and you had the white Khazars,
Mm.
right?
Now, I didn't know
Uh,
nothing about that.
I'm gonna show you some. I'm gonna give a reference to that. Okay, but go
Okay.
ahead talk. Go
No,
ahead and talk.
no, no. I'm listening now.
Wait a minute, hold on. Jim and I gonna tell you where it is. Was there a people called Black Khazars? All right, let's see. Let me put this so you can see what I'm doing here. Let's see. Hold on a second. We'll come to the. Okay, wait a minute. Where did it go? Wait, hold on a second. Okay, I gotta share my screen again. Okay, let me see. Hold on. You gotta see the Josiah. You gonna like this.
Okay. All right.
Let me see. I gotta share my screen. Okay. Uh-huh. Okay, here we go. All right. So I said, was there a people called Black Khazars, right? He says, yes. Historically, records do mention a group called the Black Khazar or Kara Khazar, but they were likely not black in the sense of African ancestry. Ha 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 ha.
Mm.
Wait a minute. See, you got to know what Google Gemini does, right? You know, Google
Mm-hmm.
Gemini is controlled by the people who saying they are us.
Right.
So you had to trick Google Gemini up by asking him a trick question, and then he'll come back and tell you the truth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So he said they were not black like African. Okay. All right. So then, is there two different types of black? That would be my question to him. Is there two different types of black?
Mm.
Okay. So anyway, so he says, let's bring it back up on the screen. He says, he says yes, historically they do mention a group called Black Khazars, Kara Khazars, but they were not. They were likely, he says, likely not black in the sense of African ancestry. In the context of Khazar, he says Khaganite, a powerful medieval Turkic empire in the Caucasus. The term black and white were used by contemporary writers, specifically Arab geographers, to describe social classes or phenotypes within the Turkic tribes. He says white Khazars, these were the ruling elite, the warrior caste and nobility. They were often described as handsome with light skin and reddish hair. Black Khazars, Kara Khazars, these were commoners. Uh oh. These were commoners, the lower class, and the laborers. Does that sound like us, right?
Mm.
Does this sound like us,
Yeah.
right? The laborers, right? Look what he said. He said the laborers, right? They were the lower class. They were the commoners. 1/10th century Arab geographer Al Istakar wrote that the black Khazars were swarthy and verging on deep black. Wait, let me read that again. The 1/10th century Arab geographer Al Istakri wrote that the black Khazars were swarthy and verging on deep black. So, how is it that he's saying that they're not black like Africans? Is there two different types? But then he describes them as being swarthy, right, and being deep
Mm-hmm.
black.
Right.
That what he
Yeah,
said.
that's that whole olive thing that they like to talk about, as far as I can tell.
But
Where they might have,
black though, right?
huh?
Olive is not deep black though, from their definition, right? Uh, Coach Sherry, can you hear me? Did my mic go up?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Coach Sherry said she couldn't hear me. Um, so basically, the black Khazars were actually the Hebrew Israelites that was in Europe. That's who they
Yeah.
were.
Hey, read the rest of that.
Okay. All right. So he says they were swarthy and verging on deep black. Even comparing them to people in India, however, most modern scholars believe this was a mistranslation or a misunderstanding of Turkey's social system, as black usually meant tributary or common, not a different race.
Now, my question is, how you gonna interpret somebody that was there in the 10th century that gives you an eye spot of it, and then you modern, you're gonna try to give your own interpretation. And you know what? That they did a one West thing right there. They
Right,
did a one West thing right
right,
there. They
right,
didn't want to believe the facts, so they'd teach you something based off of their own emotions and feelings instead of dealing with what the person that was actually there actually said concerning that.
right. Wait a minute, hold on. I got something came to my mind. What about the Sun Kiss tribe of Manasseh? Okay. Okay. Oh, let me go back. Okay. Wait a minute. He's trying to connect the one West 12 tribes. Okay, let me go back where I was. So he's trying to. So what Google is programmed to do is to say, oh, that black don't mean black. I mean black as in, you know, they were a class of people that was the commoners, right?
Mm.
But when you look at all the reference books, right? I can ask for a reference book on the Black Khazars. Okay. Um, hold on a second. What book can I read about the Black Khazars? I actually had that book in my library, but I want to see if he's gonna pull out the same book. So he gave a couple references here. The History of the Jewish Khazars by D.M. Dunlop, copyright 1954. He says this is a gold standard for Khazar history. Dunlop translates the 10th century Arabic accounts like those of Al Istakri that first mentioned the Kara Khazars, black Khazars, and explains why they were likely a social caste rather than a racial group. So black don't mean black. Black only means black when it's not referring to a people in the historical dynamic. But today, black means something totally different than black back then. That's what he's trying
Right.
to tell. Khazar studies by uh, the Jews of Kasari, which is a good book. I have that one. That's one of the references that talks about it. The Jews
Uh-huh.
of Kasari by Kevin Allen Brooke, a more modern and accessible book. Brooke uses recent archaeological and genetic evidence to explain who the Khazars were and address the different classes, black and white, within the society. Right. So it's like with us today, right? When they talk about the classes, right? Black
Mm-hmm.
and white, it's a color. It's a social, but it's a people that they identify through a color, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And now connecting that to prophecy, Deuteronomy talks about you shall be the tail and not the head. That's the social
Yeah.
class
Uh-huh.
of the
Yeah.
Hebrew captivity, right?
And notice how the dude that was there in the 10th century, what he the one gives you the context of India. And it's
Yeah,
weird because was that yesterday? The day before today or Friday. Yeah, that was yesterday. I went to an Indian restaurant and I was just making jokes about the Indian restaurant I was in. But yeah, they build up the lighter skinned Indians while the darker Indians that are dark, that are our complexion or darker, are the lower caste system. So he gave you an example that we can see with our own eyes if we look at how they do it in India.
yeah, exactly. Brother Dollar said he said maybe black like Indians with slick hair. Um, Now there's a book called the book is called It Began in Babel, I think. Not I mean not It Began in Babel, where they connect those black Indians to the Negroes.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
So you got the Japhetic Indians, which are the lighter ones, right?
Uh-huh.
And you got the Shemitic Indians, which are the Hebrews.
Hey, check this out. Check this out. Just check this out. Just yesterday again, I'm sitting in the Indian buffet yesterday. And you could go on my Facebook and see this. I show the food. And then I'm like, man, I need to be friends with some Indians. Then I like, you know what? I'm looking at these Bollywood videos they showing on the screen. I'm like, I wonder if any of them sisters know how to cook. I say, you know what? I'm gonna do a one West. It's on my Facebook. You can see it. I'm gonna do a one West and make these East Indians be one of the tribes of Israel. I'm gonna choose Issachar. I posted that just yesterday. So
Uh,
that's interesting that you are bringing that reference, man. That's crazy. That's deep.
yeah. But when you think about it, right? There's the historical. There's some references that we'll deal with that during the Black History series we do coming up.
Okay,
There are plenty of references that says that those people are Israelites, that they come from
man,
Israel.
that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Man, I'm about to share this clip on my page, man, because I joked about it yesterday. But again, we would have had to been in India because we were scattered throughout throughout the four corners. And India is a pretty large country for us to not to have been there. And it all fits within their caste system. So man, oh man, that's crazy.
Brother Dollar said he got a good video that connects the Indians to Japhet. Right. So yeah, right, because you got there's two classes. He talked about the two classes, right? Now,
Right.
Henry Louis Gates did a documentary called African Wonders, where he goes even into Arabia. He talks about two classes of Arabians, the
Mm-hmm.
black class and the white class in Arabia.
Yeah.
So the Eurocentric Arabs are Japhetic, and the African Edenic Arabs are Shemitic.
Uh-huh.
So it's just like in America. It's nothing changed. You got the darker people. You got some African people here, but I'm talking about the ones that was brought, the descendants of the ones who brought over here the slave ships. They put the label black and white to distinguish not them, not the Africans, to distinguish us
Right.
from the elite class.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say black and white, that's what they talk. They're not talking about the Africans. And that actually clarifies what his statement was. He said they're not black like Africans
Mm.
because they don't look at us as African. The elite people don't.
Right.
They say we didn't come from Ham. That's what the guy said in the book. The Negroes, Ham is the father of the dark race of people,
Except the
but not the
Negroes. Mm-hmm.
Negroes. And the connotation is not that he's saying we're from Shem. They're saying we are beasts. But the reality of the matter is they're saying when they say they're not African, like they're not connecting them to that Hamitic stock, right?
Yeah. Right.
So black and white in any society, whether it's America, whether it's Spain, whether it's Europe, whether it's Arab, they're not talking about Africa. They talk about the Hebrew people that were scattered.
Mm-hmm.
Generically, they might use that word interchangeable like they use Ethiopian or Cushite. But when they are being specific, they are specifically talking about descendants of the diaspora.
Right. Right.
Because even
Mm.
Africans don't call themselves black unless they're talking to us. I'm black like
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
They say I'm Nigerian or I'm, and even in that you have Israelites that have Nigerian and Ghanaian DNA, but we are a separate people of the Ghanaian and Nigerian stock. We're not related to all the Ghanaians and
Right.
Nigeria.
Right.
There's a certain class,
Yeah.
and
Same
Nigeria.
thing, like you say, same thing with Ethiopia. They call them the Falashas.
Oh yeah, light to the Gentile. Light. Did light come in? Where light at? There. No, light didn't come in. Light to the Gentile. Where he at? I thought I saw somebody greeting him. Okay. All right. So now, there's a lot of references on that. I share this. I'll share my Google, and you can. I'll share my Google, and you can go when we get done. We'll get ready to wrap it up.
Yeah.
You can sit and look at the references and stuff because he refers different books here. Now let's go back into to what he's saying about the Hebrew Israelite. All right. So I want to see how they okay, let's go back because I asked a lot of questions. All right, now uh he goes on to say the black Hebrew Israelite, this is a categorical term, right? Categorical term used by historians, sociologists, and media. Let me bring it on the screen to describe the movement. Okay, many within the group like the prefix black because they believe Israelite is the true ethnic and national identity, and adding a racial label feels redundant or inaccurate to them. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I was trying. Oh, you know what? It just popped up on my screen. I think my TV is lacking. Let me see. What paragraph did you just read just now?
That where it says the black Hebrew Israelites is a categorical term.
Uh-huh. You're right. You and we need to describe many within a group. Just like right. There you go. Just like is that you? Right. Absolutely. 100.
Right.
Gemini be knowing some stuff, don't he?
Yeah, Gemini be on it. Okay, now let's go to the core beliefs. Core beliefs. The unifying belief is that the transatlantic slave trade was prophesied in the Bible, specifically Deuteronomy 28 and 68, and that the African Americans are the lost tribes of Israel. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The 12 tribes may group many group use a 12 tribes chart. No, only the one West divisions, right?
Right.
Which identifies different ethnic groups in the Americas, e.g., African Americans, Hispanics, Native Americans, as a specific tribe of Israel. Relationship to Judaism. While they use the Hebrew Bible, all of us don't use the Hebrew Bible. We use the King James Version, right?
Mm-hmm.
And may follow some Jewish laws like the Sabbath or dietary restrictions. Okay, stop for a second. So, is the sanctified diet at the Sabbath, is that a Jewish law?
Well, that's how they regard it as being Jewish, because as a religion, this is what they observe as a religion.
Right. But we know it's not Jewish law. It goes beyond the tribe of Yehuda or the converts, right?
Right, right, right.
Okay. So they say we observe, we don't, so that is not correct. We don't observe Jewish law. We observe the laws of Yah,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Um, they are not considered Jewish by mainstream Jewish denomination, Orthodox, Conservative, or Reform, unless they have undergone a formal conversion, right? That's
Right.
what.
So he's talking about religion. He's not talking about ethnic at all. Just religion.
Right. Then he has Jesus, Yahshua. He's
Right.
risen. Beliefs vary. Some groups are messianic and believe that Jesus was a black prophet or the Messiah. Others reject the New Testament entirely.
Hey, I wonder where they get the how they render Yahshua,
Right.
because up there talk about one West, they didn't say Yahweh Shah,
Right.
or they didn't say none of the other ways, or Yeshua, they didn't say Yeshua. So that's very interesting, man. Gemini, man, Gemini must be, they must be in the hood somewhere, man, Chicago or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right. But like you said, Yahshua, they don't spell Yahshua that way.
Right.
Okay. A spectrum of groups. Oh, here we go. It is important to note that this is not one single organization, but a fragmented movement with very different vibes. The mainstream spiritual. Many Hebrew Israelites are peaceful, family oriented, and focused on clean living, veganism, really, like the African Hebrew Israelites of Jerusalem. and moral discipline. The street preachers, you may have seen groups on city street corners wearing ornate purple or gold garments. You know, you're talking about there, right?
Right.
Often engaging in aggressive or confrontational shouting. These are usually the radical or extremist sects. The extremists, organizations like SPLC and ADL classify certain racial sects as hate groups because they teach that white people are Edomites, descendants of Esau, and that modern Jews have stolen the identity of black people. Are they the same as black Jews? No. There is a distinction. Black Jews are people of African descent who practice mainstream Judaism like Beta Israel or Ethiopia, or who have converted to Judaism. They are part of the global Jewish community. Hebrew Israelites belong to a specific 19th and 20th century American religious movement that operates outside of tradition of Jewish and Christian institutions. What you want to say to that?
Well, they hit it. I mean, that's basically correct what they said.
So he's saying that we basically belong to a 19th or 20th century American religious movement. I don't agree with that.
That yeah, the last part. Oh, absolutely not. That's that vocab Malone line right there.
Vocab Malone's renditions.
Right. He put his 2 cents
Right,
in Gemini.
right. So Eldad Hadani, Eldad the Danite goes way back beyond that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That's the when Paul says that there was always a remnant according to the election of grace. Like you said, here in America, man, we can go all the way back, man, way back in slavery and understand that there was a remnant.
Hmm. Okay, now we covered the Khazar part. What I want to say, okay, let me ask a question. So, how do the modern Jews fit the prophecies of being taken into slavery in all nations?
Genesis ain't that smart. Now you about to show me something.
Look,
Let's see it. But
okay, let's see what he's saying. In Jewish tradition and mainstream history, the prophecies are being taken into slavery, specifically Deuteronomy 28, are not seen as a single event like the transatlantic slave trade, but as a series of documented historical events that occurred during the Roman and Babylonian periods. Here is how mainstream Jews and historians typically fit these prophecies into history of the Jewish people. Here we go. The ships of Egypt prophecy, Deuteronomy 28:68. While Hebrew Israelites interpret Egypt as a code word for America, mainstream Jews and historians point to literal historical events where Jews were shipped back to Egypt as slaves. What you want to say to that?
that goes back to them not having a witness like what we read earlier about the guy witnessed 10th century and at that time in Khazaria. Here they want you to assume that these were what we see as modern Jewish people.
Right. But to the point that he says, you and I have a different view about this interpreting Egypt being America than the One West Division. So he basically connecting the One West Divisions to that
Okay.
because we both agreed that the Israelites literally went back to literal Egypt,
Oh yeah, absolutely, literally, absolutely.
and from there.
But look, okay, wait a minute. Did you read that Roman conquest
No,
passage?
I didn't. Go ahead and read it.
Okay, read that.
You can read it. Go ahead.
Okay. The Roman conquest 70 AD, the historian Josephus recorded that after the destruction of the Second Temple, the Romans sent 90,000 Jewish captives over age 17 to the mines in Egypt.
Yep.
What you guys say about that?
He's correct.
Huh?
He's correct.
Okay. So where's the history of there being these white Jewish people in Egypt?
Right.
Wait, okay, look at this.
Right.
It says the Bar Kokhba revolt. This is 135 AD.
Right.
And here is well, I say after this failed Jewish rebellion, so many Jews were sold into slavery at the markets of Hebron and Gaza that their price dropped to that of a horse. Those who couldn't be sold locally were packed into ships
Right.
and sent to Egypt.
Right. Right.
Wow, ain't that something?
Yeah. Well, the thing of it is that that's one of the five slave trades.
Right.
It's called the
But that all by itself, right there, historically proves that we went to Egypt in ships.
right.
Because even a lot of Israelites, man, the majority of Israelites would teach, well, we walked into Egypt, so how in the world are we going to go back into Egypt in ships?
Right. That's correct.
Man, we were one of the few. Matter of fact, I don't even think I know any other Israelites that teach that correct the way that we've always taught that.
No, they don't. So to the point of the article, they're making it the One West divisions are actually making this prove to be what is taught in that circle because we know that Israel went back to Egypt. It's like the prophecy said, specific. And he's confirming it right here in this historical dynamic that yes, it did happen, right? But to your point,
Mm-hmm.
uh, he used the word Jews, right, as
Right,
whole the conglomeration of the whole Israelite nation as Jew, which is false. It's a false label.
right,
Because when you hear the word Jew, automatically we're not thinking converts. We're thinking, oh, the chosen people.
right.
So they all were in one place at one time and went where? So he's saying in 70 AD that 90,000 Israelites, because they wasn't from one specific tribe.
Okay, now, well, here's the thing. We have to consider also that there are really three, or probably even more than three, but three definitions of the term Jew.
Right,
So you have to apply to which Jew are you talking about?
right,
Because more often than not, even in the Bible, when you read the term Jew, a lot of times it's referring to a religious designation.
right,
Just like, like in the book of Esther, many became Jews. They didn't become Israelites, they became a religious designation.
right, right,
Same thing with Acts, the first chapter, second chapter, when it says many then there dwelling in Jerusalem were Jews from every nation. Have it reads from every nation dwelling there for the day of Pentecost. But the third definition of Jew is a resident of Judea,
okay,
which don't matter what your ethnic was, if you was a citizen of Judea under the Herod rulership, you was called a Jew.
right.
So that could probably be properly what that paragraph is talking about, the Jews that were
Converts.
still, but even though we do know that they were Israelites ethnically that were chosen, but from a Gentile way of thinking, they could have been looking at it like that.
Right. Dookie Dollar said, when we went back into Egypt, the Romans ruled Egypt, right? Yes.
Yeah, I need to historically look that up because we know that the Greeks ruled Egypt until the time when the Romans came into power. But I have to look it up because I'm not sure if Rome had that same level of control that they had over Judea. Yeah, I can't even tell you who were the governors or the king of Egypt at that particular time.
Hmm. I think
But I'm sure they had some level of control
I think
over
too,
Egypt at
and this
that
is where
time.
the one West divisions kind of try to take another spin. I think too some of the Edomites were still in power. So
Right?
I
Absolutely. Oh,
so
that's
I think
clear.
it
Absolutely.
may have been a puppet Edomite that was ruling in Egypt. We
Uh-huh.
had to look further into that to get further on
Yeah.
that one. So so when he says 70 AD, was Josephus talking about the citizens of Judea specifically?
Uh,
Just trying to pick the mind of
well, no, what the thing is, we know that they were Israelites.
right,
We know that they were Israelites.
right.
But from the Roman point of view, the Roman point of view, they just label everybody that was there as Jews.
Yeah, right. No, no. So Egyptians, no, they were not in control because they lost that control. As a matter of fact, there's a prophecy that says that, right? Um,
Right? Yeah.
that they became a base kingdom.
Right. Right.
And some of the Egyptians, that's why some Israelites believe they are from Kemet, because some of the Egyptians, there's a prophecy in I think Ezekiel where it says that they were scattered to the four corners.
Right. In Ezekiel. Yeah. Yep.
So those 90,000 people, it depends on from what angle you coming at. Like you're saying, are they talking about? They're definitely not talking about from the solo tribe of Yehuda. So they're more than likely talking about Josephus. More than likely talking about those who were in the kingdom of Yehuda, which are Israelite, which is the point you made, right?
Yeah.
So not necessarily from the tribe of Yehuda, but they were Israelites in the southern kingdom of Judea.
Uh-huh.
Westcom has a good book on that. Rudolph Windsor has a book called Thunder Over. I think it's called Thunder Over Zion.
Okay. But yeah, but like you said real quick, and we know that Edom had their hand in that too. So the Edomites wasn't the ones that went into captivity either.
Right. Exactly. Right. They're part of the Confederacy.
Right.
So would you say that they probably reflect um, Obadiah's prophecy
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
when he said that thou was as one of them?
Yes. 100%.
Oh, you hit it right there. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
I read
Yep.
somewhere a while ago, maybe 15 years ago, where it actually showed that Edomite kings continued to rule all the way up into Rome, the actual literal physical formation of Rome.
That's what I just shared. I shared that.
Oh, you
After
okay?
70 AD, King Agrippa II.
Right. And that's why you had a King James looking like a Negro,
Mm.
because in his ancestral, I got a book. In his ancestral DNA, he had pictures of him with Negro features, which would make him an
Mm.
Edomite, not a Hebrew, not an Israelite, right?
Right.
But the one West Divisions believed that he was an Israelite.
Israelite. Yeah.
Hmm.
Mm.
Lion Pride says, we know the Greeks ruled parts of Egypt, and of course the Romans took their spot as well as Judea. The thing with the Romans and the Egyptians, right? They fall under a label called Chittim. And sometimes when you say Chittim, like in the book of Jasher, it's referring to the Romans. In certain places, when they say Chittim, they're actually referring to the Greeks.
Mm.
So that word Greek don't necessarily mean a specific son, because Yavon, we covered that in the previous lesson. Yavon is the name that was changed to Greece. Because when you look at
And he's the father of Kittim.
both of them, right, Father Kittim,
Kittim and Tarshish.
right, that's right. So you have to define when you say Greece, who are we talking about? Are we talking about the Romans, or are we talking about the sons of Philip of Macedonia, right?
Right.
Alexander, the Greek, right?
Right.
So Grecia in the Hebrew tongue is the word Yavan.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Now, so the Bar revolt 195. After this failed, the Jewish rebellion. Now, what I wanna tie in, I want to tie in this 70 A.D. Okay, the red, it's called the Red Sea slave trade was, okay. Let me see. Hold on a second. When was the Red Sea slave trade? Okay, here we go. Red Sea. They call it the Red Sea. Reed Sea, Red Sea. Here we go. Here we go. This is connecting the dots here. Okay. The Let's pull this up right quick. Warrior Josiah getting ready for. I don't know how much longer he's gonna be around. I'm about to really wrap this up too. Okay. Maybe we'll do a part two next Shabbat. This is good stuff here. All right. So the Red Sea, it says the Red Sea timeline, ancient roots, first century, right? That would be 70 AD would be considered part of the first century, right? First century to 600 CE. Early records from Roman and the Byzantine eras describe enslaved people being transported from the Horn of Africa, modern day Ethiopia and Somalia, across the Red Sea into Arabia and Egypt. How about that?
Man.
So that's the Red
Wow.
Sea. That's the
Yeah.
Red Sea, right?
Yep.
And then you have the Indian Ocean slave trade, which came after that, and then you have the trans-Saharan slave trade, right?
Mm-hmm.
Transatlantic, and the Portugal uh, slave trade. Okay, so this one, okay, so if you go the the Indian Ocean, okay, compare, right? Compare the Red Sea, uh, the trans-Saharan, and the Indian Ocean. slave trades. Do a fast track. All right, see what he says here. All right. While there are three were major systems of human trafficking that predated the transatlantic trade, they each had unique geographic roots, demographic focus, and scales. Feature trans-Saharan across the Saharan desert via camel caravans began at the 8th century, right? The Red Sea, across the Red Sea, that's the first one, right? From ancient times to the mid 20th century, the Horn of Africa, right? So each one of these
Uh-huh.
went into Africa, each one of these trades went into Africa and got people and took them into slavery. So you got this one here, the Indian Ocean from Swahili coast to Arabian, India, and Sea. Ancient times, 2000 BCE to early 20th century, right? So this Indian Ocean and Red Sea happened. They were the first two, right? So
Mm-hmm.
Southeast Africa, Tanzania, Mozambique, and Madagascar, right? That's the Indian Ocean one. The Red Sea was the Horn of Africa, Ethiopia, Sudan, and Somalia. So when you say Horn of Africa, what is the Horn of Africa?
Um, isn't that the east part, all
Ethiopia,
going all the way down to South Africa, I think?
yeah, right. So Ethiopia, we talk about Somalia, Eritrea, right? That's what he's saying here in the reference here. So what about Egypt? Would Egypt be considered a part of the Horn of Africa, or is it separate? See that he's separate. He isolated Egypt, right? Egypt is not part of the Horn of Africa. He says the Horn of Africa specifically is Somalia, Ethiopia, Eritrea, right? Egypt is located in the northeast corner of Africa. Is trans. Okay, let me see. I'm going somewhere with this. I'm trying to. There you go. This is the part I was trying to get to. You gotta
Yeah.
see. You gotta play. You gotta play with You gotta play with Gemini, because Gemini he kind of takes you on a down a hole and you get stuck.
Uh-huh.
So I asked the direct question: were the slaves taken from Egypt back to the Middle East? He says yes. Slaves were taken from Egypt to the Middle East through the direct trade chain, specifically depending on the time period. Throughout history, Egypt functioned both as a destination for slaves, right? A place where people were brought to, and the source of slaves, a place where people were taken from. Boom! There it is. It is. So remember, we always say, you shall go back to Egypt in ships, and from
Mm-hmm.
there you'll be sold, right? So how do they separate that, right? Because if the
Mm-hmm.
Israelites, as he said, in 90,000 Jews was taken into Egypt, then what happened to them?
Mm-hmm.
Did they stay there, or did they wait? Because see, that's what the enslavers did. They waited till they repopulated themselves. Oh, we know where they at right there, right? They right there in
Mm-hmm.
Egypt. So we need some workers. So let's take them. And he says that they went back. Now watch this. Now let's go back into this. This is some good stuff here, boy. He said, okay, ancient history. In the Bronze and Iron Age, slavery was often the result of war. When empires from the Middle East, like the Syrians, Babylonians, and Persians, conquered Egypt, they would take thousands of Egyptians back to their capitals in modern day Iraq, Iran as captives. How about that? The Assyrian conquest, 663 BCE, when King Assurbanipal of Assyria sacked the Egyptian city of Thebes, he took a massive amount of spoil, which included thousands of enslaved Egyptians who were brought back to Nineveh, Iraq, to serve in his palaces. Man, that's that's good stuff there. He actually is connecting the dots because we've been trying to tell the division, one West divisions, we can't make Egypt be um America
Right.
because it doesn't fit the
Right.
bill.
Right.
Is it a
But
type of Egypt?
see how I first understood it is that I believe that when you read some in the Bible, you have to understand it the way the people that were being spoken to understood it. First, before you go into all the other deep stuff, you have to understand it that Shemaiah is talking to these people there. He wasn't talking to you, he's talking to these people.
Right.
So he says, you will go back again, keyword, into Egypt. You mean tell me those people didn't know what he was talking about, but we know what he was talking about? That's impossible. All of them came out of Egypt. They know what Egypt meant. So that was the first thing that let me know how it had to been literal because he wasn't talking to me, he was talking to them. And going back into Egypt could only mean one thing.
Right.
It could only mean one thing. Yeah, but go ahead.
Yeah. But the thing is that it brings um it been told I Rabah for that digital for the super chat. Told I Rabah for that. It brings things into the proper perspective, like you're saying, because if we can prove in history, right, that
Mm-hmm.
Israelites went back to Egypt and not the Europeans. See how I'm going with this?
Mm-hmm.
Is the same people that went into the slavery that they took back to Iran and Iraq is what he said to Iran and Iraq, right?
Mm.
The slaves were taken from Egypt to the Middle East through the direction of the trade change significantly depending on the time period. Throughout history, Egypt functioned both as a destination for slaves, a place where people were brought to, and a source of slaves, a place where people were taken from.
Wow. Wow.
You can't get no more clear than that.
Yeah. You can't make it up.
So we got to stop teaching that Egypt is America.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, from the dynamic of the people who heard the prophecy, they knew he was talking about literal Egypt, not a spiritual place,
Right.
but similar to. Can we make a case and say it's a parallel? Yes, we can. But it was specifically talking about the literal Egypt.
Yeah.
So now uh it's connecting. So because here's the thing, each of the slave trades, right? Okay, where did each of the slave trades in history take the slaves from? Boom. And now he goes and he lists four. I said five. He lists four. Okay. Which one did he leave out? Okay. So trans-Saharan slave trade More Josiah, he lists four. He didn't list five. I gave five. He lists four. Okay. Trans Transatlantic slave trade. He lists his first. Not at the first in history, but he lists on his number one. West Africa and West Central Africa. Right. The Trans-Saharan, West Africa, and Sudan belt. Right. And the Red Sea, Northeast
Did you pull
Africa.
that up?
Huh? Oh,
Did you
I'm
pull it
sorry.
up?
So yeah, so number one, he has transatlantic slave trade, the source region, West Africa, West Central Africa. Now that right there, we have to ask, how did they get into West Africa first before the transatlantic slave trade, right? Okay. So we do know from history that Spain and Portugal was pre-populated by the Hebrew Israelites and Moors and Ammon, Moab, uh, Edom, right? Because we always conglomerated together. Okay. Um, so then the Trans-Saharan, the source was West Africa and Sudan, right? So now Sudan is right south of Egypt, right? So that's questionable as to how did they get down into Sudan. So Udan, we do our Black history. We're gonna open up all of that. Okay. Um, Sahara Desert, Mali, Songhai empires, Lake Chad, Hassan cities in northern Nigeria. They took them to Morocco, Algeria, Libya, Egypt, and Ottoman. That's trans-Saharan. There goes another time, Josiah, back to Egypt in ships. So the trans-Saharan took them back to Egypt
Mm.
from West Africa and Sudan. Then the Red Sea, Northeast Africa, the Horn, Southeast Africa, Swahili coast, and Northeast modern Ethiopia, South Sudan, and Somalia, Tanzania, Zanzibar, Mozambique, Madagascar. And they took them to the Arabian Peninsula, Iraq, Iran, India, and the islands of the Indian Ocean. That's the Red Sea slave trade. Then he has one called the Barbarian Crimean slave trade, European white slavery, okay. Source region, Europe and the Caucasus. And barbaric coast villages in Italy, Spain, Ireland, and Iceland raided by North African pirates. Modern day Ukraine, Russia, and Caucasus Mountains. Okay, I see what he's doing here. So the barbarian Crimean slave trades. Um, so that's he's trying to connect Deuteronomy 28 by using this barbarian. Let's see. Let's see. When was the bar? See. He tried. See, that's why you got to ask a question, right? Look at that. He tried to connect that to fulfilling prophecy, but this barbaric slave trade didn't happen to the 16th century. But the other slave trades happened. The other slave trades happened right after right during the time when the sons of Yefeth started dominating the world, the first
Uh,
Gentiles, right? So that I'm gonna send you this. You can I'm a I'm gonna put the link. In fact, I'll do it now. I'm not gonna ask no more questions because it's getting too abstract. But I'm gonna send this to you,
Mm-hmm.
and you can sit down with Elihu, and y'all can analyze a lot of the stuff that's in here. All right. So I didn't mean to get so deep.
Hmm.
Start out as just a fellowship, we getting really deep. Anybody in the chat, if you want to come in and greet the people, don't be afraid. I'm gonna give you the link. Come on in. This is live. You can come in. You can come in live. You don't have to text or chat. You can come in. You don't have to show your face. You can hide your camera if you don't want to show your face on the camera. Brother Dollar said Nigeria has all manner.
I see you ain't got none of them Christian scoffers coming on today, huh?
Yeah. No, not today. Right. Nigeria has all manner of Hebrews in even Edomites. That is why it's shocking to me to hear people say Edomites are white. Yeah.
Hey,
Is
but I'm about to get off here, man. 'Cause I got to make
yeah,
my way to the
yeah,
Knesset.
right. Hey, man, look, it's a blessing to have you on the Shabbat, man. We can do this again. And in fact, from going forward, I think this will be my way of broadcasting. I I open up the option for people to come in, but I'll still stream like I usually do. But
Right.
somebody can come if they want to come in or ask a question or whatever, or
Mm-hmm.
add something to something that's being said. Okay.
Hallelujah.
So last words for you.
Oh yeah. Hey, Shalom, family. I hope you guys have a Baruch Shabbat and a Baruch rest of the week until we meet again. Shalom.
All right. Shalom. Shabbat shalom. All right. So we're gonna prepare to wrap this up. So if y'all got any questions about what we just talked about, this was not a lesson. It was impromptu. So unprepared. So unrehearsed. But just for the last few minutes before, just for the last few minutes before we close down, anybody have anything? I think, like I said, Google Gemini tool can be used to debunk. And I don't know if Light is in now; he might come later on. But you can use Google Gemini to debunk Esau being the so-called white man, because he's basically showing you uh, who they are, right, and who they're not. You can ask the question: Where did this? Where did the concept that Esau is a white man come from? And he'll tell you where it came from. Matter of fact, let me see something right quick. What is the origin of Esau being the white race originate? Let's see what he says here. The identification of Esau, also known as Edom, as the white race is central pillar of Hebrew Israelite theology. But the idea has long layered history that evolved through Jewish rabbinical literature before being adopted and adapted by black national movements in the 20th century. Here's the timeline. Biblical roots, the red man. Foundation begins with Genesis 25:25, describing the birth of Esau. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they call his name Esau. Theologically, the Hebrew Israelite interpret this redness not as ruddy complexion, but as an appearance of white skin when it is flushed or lacks deep melanin showing the blood through the skin. the hairy description. They often point to this as a physical trait they associate with European Caucasian people, contrasting it with smoother skin they attribute to Jacob Black lineage. Early Jewish rabbinical interpretations, the Roman link, transition from Esau being a brother nation to a symbol of the West began with ancient Jewish rabbis during the Roman occupation of Judea. Esau as Rome, after the Romans destroyed the Second Temple in 70 AD, Jewish scholars began using Edom, right? Began using Edom, Esau's descendants, as a code word for Rome. So who did it? The Jewish scholars. That's the thing that's amazing to me, right? The one West people will attack the so-called white man's teaching, but not being true, they'll quote from books that they wrote to validate their point that Esau is a white man. But they won't tell you the source of that and why, right? So, so if you want to debunk that doctrine, um, oh, okay. I was looking at this comment here. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so Esau. So it started with the Jewish uh, rabbi. He says, right? It became a code word for Rome, since Romans was the wicked brother empire that oppressed Israel. The rabbis linked them to the biblical brother who sold his birthright. He says Esau, right? Um, as Christendom, as Rome became Christian and the Byzantine Empire rose, the label Edom was extended to the Catholic Church and eventually all of Europe. Note, in the historical Jewish context, the link was political and religious, not necessarily biological or racial in the modern sense. The 20th century racialization of Edom, the specific idea that Esau is the white man as a race, originated with the early black Hebrew Israelite movements in the United States, specifically in the late 60s and 70s, most notably with One West Camp or the Commandment Keepers. Yeah, right. The power, Brother Dallas, not they actually are making this distinction between the One West divisions, although they're Hebrew Israelites like we are, but they're actually distinguishing the difference between the One West division. So if they tried to connect us all to One West division, yeah, I can see that, but they're not. They're actually showing that there's different movements, right? Okay, all right, let's go back. So he says the power. Where was I at? Okay, the power dynamics. Groups. Right, exactly. Right, right. In the same book. Right, exactly right. Um, that's right. Okay. Um, the power dynamic. Groups like the Holy Order of Ethiopia and later ISUPK took the old Jewish Edom equals Rome metaphor and updated it for American experience, and said the people who enslaved the Israelites, African Americans, were of European descent. They concluded that white people must be the biblical Edomites. Deuteronomy and Malachi. They point to Malachi 1, 2, and 3. I love Jacob and I hate Esau, to argue that there is a divine racial enmity between two groups. Okay. Now it says compare identity swap, right? Um, Hebrew Israelite theology relies on a binary view of word based on twins, Jacob and Esau. Okay, all right. Modern day Black Hebrew Israelite theology. Okay. The chosen African American, Hispanic, Native American. So when you see that, right, he's basically identifying the one West division's doctrine, not the Hebrew Israelite at large, but that particular section. Esau rejected the white race and Caucasians, right? Why the Khazar theory is used here. As we discussed earlier, many Hebrew Israelites use the Khazar hypothesis to bolster this claim. They argued that the real Jews are black. Modern white Jews are actually Edomites, Esau, who converted to the to Khazar religion and stole the identity of the true Israelites to hide their Edomite heritage. Uh, Literalism, interpreting red as the way white skin looks in the sun, historically coding, borrowing from Edom, Rome, linked to medieval Jewish texts, social context, applying the biblical labels to specific racial history of American slavery and Jim Crow. Okay, I want to ask one last question, and then we're gonna go ahead and wrap this baby up for today. Okay, I want to know, where did the 12 tribes chart originate? Did it start with British or Anglo Israelism? Okay, let's see what he says. Okay, the 12 tribes chart, the document that identifies specific ethnic groups in Americas as the biblical Israelites, did not start with Anglo Israelism. In fact, it was created as a direct rebuttal to it. White Anglo Israelism and the Hebrew Israelite movement share a similar logic, claiming biblical identity for modern nations. They are historically and ideologically opposite. The origin, the One West camp, this modern 12 tribes chart originated in the late 60s and early 70s at a school in Harlem, New York, located at 1 West 125th Street. This school was known as the Israeli School of Universal Practical Knowledge, not to be confused with the modern ISUPK, which is a descendant of this group. The creators, the chart was developed by seven heads, the leaders of the One West camp, most notably Abba Bivens, Ariyah, and Masha. The goal, they wanted to expand the movement beyond just African Americans by revealing the Puerto Ricans, West Indians, and Native Americans were also Israelites. They aimed to create a unified front of oppressed people of color against the Edomite white power structure. Comparison. Anglo Israelism started in the 18th and 19th centuries in Britain and the US. It claimed that the 10 lost tribes migrated to Europe and became the Anglo Saxon, Celtic, and Scandinavian peoples. Did it start with Anglo Israelism? No. However, the method of interpretation is very similar. Both groups used the etymological gymnastics and heraldry, matching modern symbols of biblical tribal flags to prove their points. One West leaders likely encountered the logic of British Israelism and flipped into a center of the African diaspora. How was the chart calculated? One West leaders didn't just pick groups randomly, they used methods called precept upon precept based on Isaiah 28:10, linking specific biblical verses to the history of Americas. Judah African Americans, Levi Haitians, he got them down here, Gad, Native Americans, and legacy chart. Okay, now Let me do this here. I'm gonna wrap this up here. Okay, all right. So I already have my view. Of, okay, so the book entitled "The Little Book Keys to Heaven" and the Bible, is this a source that the Anglo Israel used, or are there any older books that they used? Okay, let's do that there. All right, the little book. The book you're referring to, the little book Keys to Heaven in the Bible, often attributed to authors like T.W. Platt or published through early British Israel Association, indeed a primary text with Anglo-Israelism movement, particularly during the peak in the late 19th century, 20th century. However, Anglo-Israelism is much older than that specific book. The movement has a clear lineage of foundational texts that established the logic later used by British Israel and eventually the Black Hebrew Israelites. They connecting the logic from. Wait a minute. The foundational book, John Wilson, 1840. I'm gonna have to get that one. If there is one book that started the modern movement, it is Our Israelitish Origin by John Wilson. All right, I'm gonna have to get that one. When I go offline, I'm gonna get that one. The method he used, linguistics and heraldry, comparing the lion and the unicorn of the British royal coat of arms to biblical symbols to prove his point, right? The expansion, Edward Hine, 1871, the most popular and influential book of the history of Anglo-Israelism, identification of the British nation with lost Israel by Edward Hine, right? In fact, this book sold hundreds of thousands of copies. Hine took Wilson's idea and made them more racial and nationalistic, specifically arguing that the British Empire was the fulfillment of God's promise to Abraham that his descendants would become a company of nations. The 47 identifications line listed 47 specific proofs or marks of Israel that he believed only the British people fulfilled. Okay, how about that? How this relates to the 12 tribes chart. As we distinguish the 12 tribes chart used by Hebrew Israelites today is a mirror image of the charts found in the Anglo-Israelite books. Let me read that again. As we discussed, the 12 tribes chart used by Hebrew Israelites today is a mirror image. Boom! Of the charts found in the Anglo Israelite books. I rest my case. I rest my case. So the 12 tribes chart is not original. They hijacked the British Israelism doctrine. The book I use that was presented to me from somebody else, which is the little book Keys to Heaven in the Bible, right? By Larson, I think his last name, I think his name is Larson, right? Is not the oldest book. But that's the source that the brother that was once a part of the One West Division shared with me that was one of their sources of them exchanging or mirroring the British Israelism doctrine of the 12 tribes chart to share that as a revelation, which it wasn't a revelation. It was a hijacking of information that they used to build the One West Divisions. Now, right there is where I do my hand clap. Next Shabbat, I should have my stream deck linked to this live stream. And so we will be streaming from this in this manner going forward. So if anybody wants to come in and offer commentary or comments, questions, you'll be able to click a link. I'm gonna do it one last time, just in case somebody want to come in and greet the people. I will give you 5 minutes. So in the meantime, I'll just talk for a minute. Somebody want to come and greet? You want to question something that we shared, or you want more detail? Brother Dollar says some of the camps dabble in the Talmud. It's evident because when you this whole doctrine, first you got to go back to the history of the commandment keepers in New York, and then you'll be able to make the connection because they were actually seeking to be accepted in the rabbinical community. So quite naturally, some of them actually may have secretly converted to Judaism. Okay. All right. With that said, brothers and sisters, I don't have my stream deck link with all my commercials, but next Shabbat I will have it. I'll have all the bugs out. My microphone will be louder and it'll be more clear because I'm going to spend some time uh, at the end of the Shabbat tweaking my device so that everything is where it needs to be. All of my commercials, stuff like that. I may do some new intros and kind of change how we begin our live stream. So, with that said, probably you all got something out of what we shared today, and I ask that you, those of you who are viewing this for the first time, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. Hit the notifications, the little bell, so you'll be notified when we stream live. And make sure you put a thumbs up to like the video so the videos can get put into the algorithms. We do know that YouTube, for the most part, have shadow banned this channel, and we don't get as many hits as others get. There, our channel is not recommended unless you are subscribed or you happen to know somebody who invites you. That's the other piece. Invite people to the channel, right? And let them know that this channel is going to be, this is your channel, right? This is not Kazak's channel. This is your channel. This channel is for you. So if you have anything you want to bring, you want to question, you want to challenge, this is your channel, right? This is your channel. Opportunity for you to do that. Yes, sir. She's doing good there, my brother. Thanks for asking. Uh, the dollar said he's headed to the assembly. Right. Okay. So y'all that don't have cameras, you don't have to have a camera to come on. You can just put a still on it and you can still come in and speak. A lot of people do that. All right. So yes, indeed. All right, my brother. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap this session up and praise the Most High for those of you that just came in and joined with us on the stream. Told our Rabbi once again for more Josiah coming and sharing, gave a great big piece of this live stream. And so we'll be back again next Shabbat at the same time, same channel. Y'all said the same. With that said, brothers and sisters,